Hey, what's up guys? Peter here once again. I have another DIY project here, which I've already worked in this car in the past. Today I'm going to replace the valve cover gasket of this 2004 S500 Mercedes W220. Alright, before I get started here, I just want to let you guys know that I've done this job before. Didn't even last 10,000 miles and it's leaking again. And the only advice I could give you guys is always use an original valve cover gasket. I tried to use an off-brand, I believe it was a Victor Reigns Benz valve cover gasket, and needless to say it started leaking, and it would throw out smoke on the side because the oil would drip on the exhaust manifold. So I will show you guys the part that I got, and so I'm gonna believe now that this should solve the problem. Alright guys, so here it is. Here's one of them. There's a left and a right side. Here's the part number right there. Okay, that's for one side, and this is the part for the other side. Okay, there it is right there. So again, this thing cost less than $40 for both. And again, you guys, I cannot emphasize this enough. I've been working on cars for a long time, and aftermarket products just don't work as good. So save yourself some time and, you know, some extra money in the long run, and having to do the job twice, and just get yourself an original OEM part for your car, especially with these European cars where oil is always sitting on the sides. You know, as you can see here, I don't know if you can see right there, it's kind of wet in this side right here. So I'm gonna open this up and I'm gonna see where exactly it's leaking from, but I know that it's leaking from the valve cover gasket because the car ends up blowing out smoke from the top of burnt oil. So needless to say, it's coming from the exhaust manifold or whatnot. So I'm gonna get this thing started over here. You just pop this up, okay, slowly lift this up right here, and it slides right out. Okay, there it is. It's only held by these two E-clips, okay, and these clips right here go into these holes. The one over here broke, and this part right here is what sits over here. So you just pop this off to get that part started. To get these air hoses off, you just pull back because it's like spring loaded here, and you pull back, lift, it just comes right off. Okay, do the same thing on this side, lift, just pull right off. Okay, now this air filter box, it's just basically held on by these clips right here as well. So all you're gonna do with these is lift up also, one side at a time. So I usually grab it right here and I'll just lift up. There. Both sides came off. If not, you have to lift on both sides. Okay, so you just basically lift this out. I'm gonna have to pause this so I can get them both out because I need both hands. Alright guys, so this is how it looks with it off. Again, that air filter box only attaches here with clips on these parts right here. Okay, and while you're up here, I just want to show you guys, these valve covers have two pieces. First time I did the job, the top part, this part right here, these bolts right here is the one that removes the top part. Now, if it's not leaking here, I wouldn't suggest you do that because it's a long process, because they don't sell that gasket, so you need to make your own. And fortunately, I did the job really good when I did that, so I don't have to do it again this time because it doesn't look like it's leaking anywhere. You can see some orange gasket right there. I used the high temp gasket, and it's not leaking oil anywhere there, so I'm pretty happy about that. And then you would see, like, it would leak right here, so you wouldn't have to remove these bolts right here, those little screws right there. Same thing on the other side. Okay, the other side over here, this is the part, this is the second valve cover. on the left side of the valve cover, the passenger side, and it doesn't appear to be leaking either. So I don't think I'm going to need to redo that also. Now if you look right here, you could see where the valve cover gasket could possibly be leaking. So yeah, that's why I'm going to have to change it again. Now I just need to make sure, inspecting this, that everything looks fine. Okay, I'm going to show you guys the bottom part of the air filter box just so you guys could see what I'm talking about as far as making sure that the clips go back in place. So this is the air filter box right here. Okay, and if you could see here, this is what Mercedes kind of messed up on, because you can see like some melted plastic here. That's because of the heat of the engine. I hope they corrected that problem right here. Again, this is a 2004 S500. And when you guys get this, you got to make sure that you don't lose these clips. This is the clip. There's one right there. And then one there and one there. So basically it's two on each side, because you're just going to need to pop this back in later. So what I usually do is I put all the parts in one place, lay it out like it's supposed to be, and so I could get back to it later. Alright guys, I'm gonna show a little disclaimer here, because I don't have all the Torx tools for this car. So to remove the valve cover bolts, I'm gonna use an 8mm socket. Okay, and it works perfectly there. Okay, and over here you guys have to use this tool, like a star-shaped tool, to remove the coil packs. Okay, so you have to remove the coil packs, but first you have to unplug them, and you just simply press it and then pull it out. See, it comes right off. Okay, you don't have to, but it'll make the job a lot easier if you remove the coil packs, because you're gonna be able to reach the bolts that you need to reach down there. Okay, I mean, like I said, you could probably get away without, you know, taking it off, but it'll be a lot easier that way. You'll have more room, because these cars are very tight. Okay, and you guys are gonna need the spark plug boots tool to remove the spark plugs, remove the spark plug wires. But you could also use a 17mm open-ended wrench to just slip that in and pop it out. So to demonstrate that, you just simply get the 17mm, you go like this, just get a little bit of leverage here and just slowly pull them out. See, that pops right out. And again, you guys don't want to work on these cars. You don't want to work on these cars when the engine's hot, because it's an aluminum valve cover. It's an aluminum motor, and you guys don't want to strip the bolts. Make sure the engine's really cold, and torque them per manufacturer specification. You will also need to remove these hoses, this, and this. Depending on how old they are, they might be a little bit flimsy, so be careful not to rip them. With this, I've replaced them before, so they're fairly new still, so they come right off like that. And same thing on this side, so they'll just pop. They should just pop right off. There you go. Again, when I first replaced these, they actually ripped because it was older, and these engines get really hot. So let's get started. Remember, these small bolts right here will remove this secondary valve cover. Okay, unless you need to replace those, don't remove them. Just remove these guys. This, and there's a few here. They're in between the coil packs. And remember, remove the coil packs first. Again, you just simply press this button, it pops right off. Those, there you go. And then it should be able to just come right off. And this zip tie here, I just zip tied this when I worked on it before. I'm just gonna simply rip that off, and I'll just replace it again later. Alright guys, let's get started. I wanted to remind you guys, if I were you guys, I would take a photo of how the diagram looks of the wires. You know, just so you know. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory once you lay them out. But you want to put the same coil packs in the same area where it was. At least that's how I like to do it. So you guys should snap a photo so you guys could simply know where to put it back. Alright guys, I have one more disclaimer here. Okay, so basically I don't have the specific torque. I mean, I was trying to use that one tool. Where'd it go? See, I was using this Torx to take the coil pack bolt out. From here, it's fine. But once you get here and then back here, especially on the driver's side, there's really no room. So what I've done was that I found a flathead bit that I have that pretty much matches the same width as that torque bolt, and I went ahead and used that. See, so I would put it like this, okay, and then I would get this 1/4 inch wrench. Make sure that you don't loose thread this, because you don't want to over tighten or you like to mess up the bolt. And I would just break the seal. Oh, this one's a bit tight. See that? There. Wow, that one's really tight. See, that's why I don't like bringing my place to mechanic shops, because they did a diagnosis on this car before and they really tightened these. See? That's how you could break these things. So anyway, that's my little disclaimer for you guys. Alright guys, this is how I've laid it out. Okay, so basically I laid the coil packs and the wires the way it shows in the motor, so that I know how to put it back. For example, this is the passenger side, and if you notice the front coil pack, I have them laying here in sequence. Basically, first 1, 2, 3, 4 from front to back, and then the way the wires are, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory once you see it, the way it's laid out in the car. But I also made a note on a piece of paper that says the top wire and the passenger side coil packs go to the right side, because this is 8 spark plugs for total. It's 2 spark plugs per cylinder. This is a V8, so there's 2 spark plugs per cylinder. Okay, so I made a note that on the passenger side, the top wire in each coil pack goes to the right side. So when I replace it, I won't have to worry about getting it misconfigured. And then the left driver's side, I did the same thing. But over here, the way it works is that the top wire is on the left side. So I made a note on that too. And again, you guys, take a picture of the engine on certain angles and areas before you start taking them apart. Okay, so therefore you guys won't get confused. Now I want to tell you guys, these valve cover bolts, they all have different sizes, different lengths. Okay, again, you're gonna take these off, only the big starred ones, okay, not these small ones, unless you're gonna replace the valve cover gasket on this, on the top parts. What I would do here is lay it out in sequence as well, just so that you guys don't mess up. Okay, because again, these are all different lengths, and I'll show you guys that in a minute. Alright guys, so I just want to show you how I laid it out. So this is the exploded view of the parts that I've taken off so far, as if I'm looking at the car. So this is the driver's side. See, I lined up the bolts according to an order. Same thing at the coil packs, the center covers, and the left side. Okay, now I just want to show you guys, if you guys look at this bolt right here, see how it has oil and some kind of gasket deposit? That shows you right there that that's a part where it's leaking at, that area. You could see, like, see, look at this bolt, how it's kind of dirty in the top part of it. Okay, so that means there's oil leaking there. The other ones are pretty clean. Like, look at this top one, it's clean. Bottom, this is a bottom one and it's clean. So you guys can pretty much distinguish also, and also by looking at the coil pack wires. See, look, this is the second bolt. So this is the one, that's the bolt that's sitting underneath this. And if you look at this coil pack, look at the spark plug boot. It has some oil dirt on there. So that shows you right there that it's leaking there. So you can kind of get an idea, okay? And this is the passenger side. Just a quick look. Back here it's kind of dirty. Okay. So that's how you could tell, and you can see like a little bit of wetness around that area. That's how you could tell that it's leaking oil in that area. See, look at the head of this bolt right here. See, that's how you can kind of get an idea. So these two up here are dirty. See, but the rest are pretty clean. So you get an idea of where the valve cover gasket is leaking. I also want to point out to you guys, it's a lot of the vulnerability of gaskets are at the U grooves where the cams sit. So if you look down here, I don't know if you could really see too much because it's kind of dark in that area, but you can see that it's leaking there. Again, I'm just thankful that the top gasket that I did from the past is still doing well because there's no leaks here. There's no obvious leaks. Usually you'll see them seep through here, but I'll inspect it when I remove the valve cover. But if you look right here in the passenger side, this area right here has been wet. You see even it's dripping on the alternator. All this area right here. So needless to say, the gasket failed. And again, I rarely drive this car. I probably put about 800 miles a year in this car. And these gaskets are supposed to fail anywhere between 60 to 100,000 miles. So that shows you right there that the aftermarket gasket that I put, just to save a few bucks, failed. Okay, so I wanted to share that with you guys, and then I'm gonna go ahead and take off these valve covers. Okay, I want to point out to you guys. Okay, oh, you see this area right here, right there? You see, that's how you could see it failed, the gasket. And then it made a mess all the way there. You can see all the stains right there of oil drippings. So yes, you guys, this is proof. And this is just the passenger side. This is proof that definitely use an OEM part. Okay, this is where I messed up. That's what happens when you're cheap. Okay? Don't be cheap, because you're going to end up paying for it regardless. If you look right here too, it's already separated, because this is a one piece. See? It's failed. That's why it's leaking there. So now I'm going to take this off. I just wanted to show you guys that. Try not to get any dirt into your engine. Sad, because to be honest with you guys, the OEM part versus the aftermarket part, it's a few dollars difference. So here's the aftermarket. Here's the aftermarket, and I can see that it's failed around this area and around this area, specifically in the back. So you could see where this gasket part right here had already deteriorated as far as the size of it. Okay, so definitely you guys use an OEM. Alright guys, so this is the driver's side. Okay, and the same as here, you could see the mess it was making back there from all the dripping. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus. There we go. It's leaking back there. And you could see, you could pretty much tell that it's falling into the exhaust manifold. You can see how dirty it is down there. Okay, just want to show you guys the importance of using OEM. It's really important. And remember that long screw bolt that I showed you guys? If you look right here, right there, the gasket has melted. Okay, again, I don't know if that has anything to do with, you know, how the quality or whatever, but obviously it's showing that it really does matter. And you could see where the oil would drip in the exhaust manifold and it'll start smelling like burnt oil. But it's more so on the other side than the driver's side. But if you guys look right here, this is the driver's side underneath the valve cover. you could see right here where the gasket had melted also, and it's flattened now. See, that's why it's vulnerable to leaks. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this off. You see right here, there's oil right here. That shows you that it was already seeping through there. And if you look at the part right here, the valve cover, it's all dirty and moist and wet with oil. So that shows you that it was leaking already. So I'm just going over these things, you guys, so you can kind of get a general idea of where the leaks are coming from and how to like really pinpoint it, so you know to double check that area. But yeah, that's basically where it's at on this, in this side. This is the driver's side again. And again, you guys, if you see any oil at all in this part, in this area right here, around the whole part of it, okay, inspect it, because it's really important, because that means oil is leaking through there, and you would need to change the gasket of this. And in able to do that, you got to take these bolts off. And it's really time consuming, you guys, because you have to build your own gasket. You need to use a gasket maker. Oh gosh, I just made some mess right there. So yeah, especially like a lot of people are saying that they're leaking oil right here. Okay, this would be the culprit. And you really have to clean this well, and for it to last. So I'm kind of happy that at least I don't have to do that part. So all I got to do here now is clean this really well. Okay, don't use any sharp objects, because you don't want to indent any scratches or anything on this aluminum valve cover, or else you're going to create problems for yourself, and you don't want to do that. So alright, I just wanted to show you guys that. And on the passenger side, this is the passenger side valve cover, and if you're seeing a lot of oil residue here, again, this is something you got to make a gasket maker out of again. I'll show you guys which one I used. But yeah, right here, it's still good. It's really good. So I'm pretty happy about that. That this top one does not need a gasket replaced. So yeah, that one takes forever. So I'm really happy about that. Alright guys, so now what you got to do is make sure you clean this area. Make sure there's nothing in this area that could cause a kink or some kind of separation between the head and the gasket you guys are going to replace it with. Because that's gonna, if you guys do this right and make sure it's all clean, it's gonna prevent future leaks. And trust me, you guys, you do not want to do this job twice. Okay, so anyway, I'll get back to you guys in a few, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, I want to show you guys how I cleaned it. You notice all here, all the part where the gasket goes through, I cleaned it. Okay, just make sure that there's no debris, you know, so you don't have to do the job again, because it's not really fun. Again, clean this area up. You can see right here where the oil was kind of seeping through. So my leak was like around this area, because you could see where my alternator's kind of getting wet, and that's what causes premature failure of these alternators. So always double check those, you guys. Okay, so I cleaned it up already, and over here I'm looking, there's like, again, some like melted plastic or whatnot, and really can't do anything about that right now, but you could clean it off if you want. Coming over here, I just want to show you guys, this is the kind of silicone I used when I did this, the top part right here, and you could tell it held really well because there's no leaks on it. Okay, yeah, there's no leaks around there, so that showed you that it worked. Okay, so I know other people have their opinion, but this is what I use because it's sensor safe. It's a high temperature, which is what this engine is, and it made a gasket right here, so that's good. This worked, and I did this 5 years ago, 2011. Yeah, so that show you guys it works. Anyway, again, what you want to do is go through these grooves. Make sure you don't use a tool that's sharp. Just use like a rag. You know, with me, I just go and get the edge of this and just run it through the grooves. Okay, now, when you guys seat the valve cover gasket, you can put little dots of this, little dots, like on these areas where it curves. because that can help you keep the gasket in place, so when you put it down, it doesn't get smashed or stuck. I'll show you guys in a minute. Alright guys, so I was getting the edge of this, and I just go through it like this, all the way around. Well, obviously I need two hands on this one. So you guys get the idea. You want to just use like the edge of a rag, and when you're done, it should look clean, like this. Avoid having any debris again, because like I said, you want to prevent the valve cover from leaking again, because it is a pain, you guys. I mean, the oil drips on the exhaust manifold. It stinks, it smokes, especially when you're in traffic. It's embarrassing. I mean, you have a nice car and yet it's leaking oil. In my personal opinion, this was a poorly designed motor, just because of the fact that it's at an angle, so it's prone to leaks. But hey, you know what? The car is great, and it's a V8, so there's really no other option on it. So I'm sure there's their reasons, but that's why you guys use an OEM gasket. And I could already tell that the OEM gasket actually sits up a tad bit higher than this. Okay, so yeah, there it is, you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna clean the rest of this up, and then I'll get back to you guys. Alright guys, so the valve cover gasket's already clean. I mean the valve cover is already clean. So just make sure that there's no debris here that can you know, create like a little kink or a gap in the seal and prevent it from doing its job. Okay, so that's what you do. You just make sure it's clean. This is where you really want to take your time, just so that the grooves are really clean. Okay, and I'll show you guys what's next. Alright guys, check this out. So this is the non-OEM, the one that I got from eBay, and this is the brand new one that's an OEM Mercedes part. So watch this. I'm gonna put them next to each other. See the difference in thickness? See the thickness of the one on the left? It's a tad bit thicker. Yeah, and you know, you're gonna think, oh, well, it's because it got pressed down. Well, see, regardless, you gotta remember, these bolts are torqued at a certain amount. So it can only press it down so much, but you gotta remember, if it never got loose or whatnot, and these things fail, then you're gonna have that leak. You can see it clearly. You can see the difference in thickness clearly. So there you go, you guys. That's the difference between a non-OEM and OEM gaskets. Okay, you can see it right there. It's a really big significant. Difference. See that? So that'll show you right there, you guys, that it's really worth the extra money. I mean, I only paid $18.50 for each of these at the actual Mercedes dealership. And so needless to say, less than 40 bucks for both valve cover gaskets, original. And then the other one, I got it on eBay for like $25 or $30. I don't quite remember. But is it worth it? I think so. So anyway, I don't think I'm going to need to use the sealant anymore. And I'll give you another follow-up. Alright guys, so here it is. The new valve cover gasket is seated good. Okay, now when you guys put this back on, you know, pay attention that none of it comes off. It shouldn't, because it's pretty tight in there. Like I said, I was going to advise to put some silicone in some areas, but you're not going to need it. It's in there. It's not going to come off. I mean, I can't even pull on it. Like, you know, usually on the aftermarket ones like these ones, they're loose. So when you flip the valve cover over, it has a tendency to come off, the gasket. See, so this one's on there again, but you know, when you put it back on, you want to make sure that it's it doesn't come off. So what you're gonna do is run your fingers around through the grooves, you know, just kind of follow the valve cover and make sure that it didn't kink out or something. The most important areas are the curved areas like these, where the cams are. So, but like I said, it's pretty tight in there. So I'm going to go ahead and get started to put this back on, and then I'll show you guys the rest. Alright guys, I want to show you guys this. See right about there where I have the beam of light right there. See that black stuff right over there, right there. See that black part right there where the shine, the right in front of the flashlight. See, it was leaking a lot there. So needless to say, it was already failing at this area right here. So yeah, and this is the driver's side. I already put it in. Okay, like I said, you want to inspect to make sure that none of the gasket's sticking out. That means it's been kinked, and that's gonna leak. So you want to make sure none of it is pinched. Put the hoses back in, the breather hoses, both sides. Again, be really careful because if you crack them, you will need to replace them. And if your car has a high mileage, might as well replace them already, especially if it's cracking. Like I said, I very seldom drive this car, so it's gonna be a while. But anyway, I'm gonna get started with the other side. I just wanted to point out to you guys where it was basically leaking a lot. Alright guys, so I already installed both sides. Again, you want to just inspect whatever you can to kind of just peek in there and make sure that nothing's leaking, or I mean not leaking, but the gasket wasn't kinked in any way. Okay, and be patient because there are 11-volt bolts. I actually started from the corners. There's the 4 corners. But I hand tightened them, and then I slowly hand tightening them crosswise. So from down here to up here, down, up, down, up, down, up, and then the same thing, up, down, up, down, up, down. And then I just, again, you gotta torque it based on manufacturer specification. I don't have a torque, so I just kind of hand tighten without leverage. Okay, same thing on the other side. I did the same thing. Start with the corners, and you guys, again, be patient. You're looking at 11 bolts on each side, not including these ones. And also what I did, when I secured the valve cover, I went ahead and retightened those as well, because when the seal has a tendency to expand when you take it out, and when you tighten these up, it's going to tighten the top part again, and those might end up becoming a little loose. I went ahead and tightened those. I reinstalled the breather hoses, and I'm pretty much ready for the coil packs. But I'm going to go through it one more time, make sure that none of the seals are kinked in any way or pinched, because this is a big job. For me it is, at least, and I don't want to do it again. So that's it guys. I'll give you more follow-ups in a little bit. Alright guys, I just wanted to show you guys how I did the coil pack. You see, I started from the back so that I have more room to go towards the front. And of course, it's like a little treat for me coming towards the front because there's a lot more room. So over here, I made a note. See, I said driver's side coil pack, which is up there. The top wire, which is this, the top spark plug wire. See this top and bottom? The top wire on the driver's side coil pack goes to the left side. See, to the left of it. And then the bottom wire, which is this, goes to the right side, which is down there. Okay, so those little notes right there just to kind of help you guys out. Okay, all right, let's keep moving forward. All right guys, so now I'm doing the passenger side. So that means the top wire, which is this top wire, this one goes to the right side. Okay, so we'll go there right now. All right, so again, I'm going to start from the back and work my way forward. So this time the top wire, which is this, goes on the right. Now if you look at it, you know, it's pretty much used to being on the right side, so it's going to be there, but you still want to mark it just to make sure. And when installing these back on, you want to put the boot in first and just push it with your hand. You should hear a click, and that tells you that the spark plug boot has already snapped back into the spark plug. Okay, all right guys, so here it is. It's all finished. Whew. Okay, anyway, I want to show something to you guys over here. These little clips right here, they tend to break off. As you can see, I broke it on this and on that. And you know, of course, they get really weak because of the heat. This engine really releases a lot of heat, and of course it breaks easily because it's plastic. So anyway, what I did is that I put a zip tie here, right there, okay, just so that even if it raises up, it can't go up enough to where it loses contact. So I did it there, and I did it here as well, because over here the back one broke. They pretty much, yeah, the middle one broke right here, the two from the back. So I just held it here, so again it just won't go up. You know, I did this before, and that's when I worked on this car like 5 years ago, and needless to say, it's lasted this long. So I just replaced it, and that's it. And then just make sure you inspect everything again. Just make sure the hoses are back in place, and if they're cracked or whatnot, go ahead and replace them. Alrighty. Alright guys, she's all done. Just a reminder, there's these snap clips on these corners right here on this. So you put the back plate in first, then you put this back in. It goes so in, snap down. I broke this part right here, that's why it's kind of loose, but as long as it doesn't rattle, I'm good. And then you basically simply replace these intake hoses in, and you're pretty much set. Make sure you didn't leave any tools laying around this area. Okay, while you're down here, might as well check the brake fluid. If your car is equipped with a dipstick, check the dipstick. Oil dipstick's right there. Windshield washer, radiator fluid. Okay. And just like that, you guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a message down below. Please, if this helped you in any way, click like. Please subscribe. This is a family channel. Again, you know, my daughter is a toy reviewer, so she reviews toys, and I do DIYs and other fun stuff. Anyway, guys, I hope this really helped you guys. Again, if you have any questions or better suggestions, go ahead and leave it down below. Thank you so much for watching. All of you have a blessed day, and I'll talk to you guys soon. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.